call this meeting to order and begin the work session of our city council meeting. Item number 1 is the report on Woodland Hills Days. Let me just interject. I thought it was awesome. I thought that it was a beautiful venue. I thought that it was a very pleasant, just a great event. So thank you and well done.
Yeah, well thanks. We did keep it pretty simple. You know, the last couple of years have just been rebuilding, and because we had the 1 year where we didn't have it, and anyway. So
2 years we didn't have it.
yeah,
Well, no, only one, I guess.
only one,
It
but
was funny.
it also got changed because it got moved to the park, and you know, some of those things. So we had the band, and that was wonderful. We moved them closer to the people. That was one of the things. Last year when we had the band, they were kind of far away and it was pretty quiet, so we moved them closer. A lot of people really liked that. We had people in front dancing and stuff.
Well,
so.
and I love when he said, if you can't hear us, move closer. If you can't and we're too loud, switch places with those that can't hear.
I know, right?
I thought that was perfect.
Yeah, so I really liked that. I thought that was good. The car show was awesome. They had 35 cars. 35. I asked
Great.
them. And they made a little bit of money, so that was good. And then the dinner, we fed about 525 people, so that's pretty good. Then the breakfast was really good, except I was disappointed in the turnout. And my one thing, and I guess that I would ask, you know, maybe everyone to kind of brainstorm, Carrie already gave me, you know, some ideas and some, you know, things to, but we didn't have a lot of the older population weren't there, so I was really disappointed. But Carrie mentioned she thinks it's because the park, you know, like the ground, you know, there's potholes and
It's uneven.
it's uneven. They probably had some concerns about being in the sun. So I think maybe,
And the restrooms. not being
and the
close.
restrooms not being close enough.
That's the feedback I got from, because I called a few people and said, are you coming? You know, people who traditionally come.
Yeah,
come.
we didn't really see.
They had some concerns, so.
We didn't really see a lot of the older people. It was great for the families. We had the climbing wall, we had the bounce houses, we had all the games. We had some decent booths, I think. And so the families, you know, loved it. We had bingo at 11. That was kind of fun, all the kids. But we didn't see a lot of the older generation. So I think we're gonna try and figure out what we can do, because we want to include everybody and make sure. Traditionally, those are the ones that like really supported the breakfast in the past, and there was only a couple of them there. So I don't know, maybe even if we get, maybe we get like a seniors tent, and we talked about making a pathway, all along the fence there is an asphalt pathway, but maybe just extending and making one that goes straight to the pavilion to make it easier. I just think if we advertise, if we kind of let some of the seniors know that we're going to make it a little bit better for them, a little bit easier path, I think hopefully we can get some more participation. But that was my biggest disappointment, was that. We will add a few more events next year. We've already got some ideas, so yeah. And we didn't use all the money. And then for the firemen, for their fundraising breakfast, their goal was $1,500, and we raised $15, $20, and 45 cents. So
That's great.
Overachiever, you.
So we did good. Anyway. So
I thought everybody had a great time. Thank you for all of that work and for the rodents for all of their work. Seemed like those who did attend really enjoyed themselves. And Ken was over the top with the cars.
He did so
And he
good.
was so happy that it spread its wings a little. Well, you know, it takes a few years for those on the car circuit to realize this is a real event too, and so he's got it to that place. And I think the booths, the kids were having fun at the booths, and Ben's kids sold some really yummy ice cream in competition with their neighbors, so that was.
Ours was easier to consume, so we had an edge.
My favorite was the DeLorean that had the flux capacitor
Yeah,
and everything.
that was fun.
And they had the skateboard and the hoverboard in there. They had everything. It was pretty legit. It was
Well,
awesome.
and I appreciated that we had some other elected officials outside of our city who attended with us, and they really enjoyed it as well. You know, a new congressman who was surprised at how many people come, and and that we were able to introduce him to everyone. And then, of course, our sheriff, who has always been very supportive of our city, so that was nice.
So I was disappointed, I mean, like Doral was gone and, you know, like I would have liked, I think, more council and participation maybe. I don't know, maybe I need to give everyone an assignment. Maybe that's something I need to work on. I was disappointed a little bit in that. Just-
Dora was out of town, I think he normally is.
Yeah, and Dave just
was
kind of
always-
came for a minute and then he went to
Well,
the,
he just came for a little bit because his wife is in charge of the storytelling festival.
and it was on the same
And it's
day.
always the same weekend.
There was a lot of things going on that weekend too. So, I mean, you know, those are
Overall,
things,
it was
yeah,
good.
it was good. Just speaking of things that we can do better, so.
Well, I give it high marks,
Yeah.
so, thank
Okay,
you.
well, good, thanks.
Okay, amending the policy and procedures for the finance committee. So, Janet, as you mentioned last time, you requested to be on the finance committee, and I appreciate that, and I'm glad that you want to be on it. I did talk with David. He feels that 2 council members is too many, so he is resigning, basically, so it's all on you. But I was gonna say, Jody, in this proposed policy language, I was thinking maybe if we did up to 2 city council members, that way we can keep it flexible and, but if you have concerns about that.
Well, I don't want him to resign, and I don't even care if it's me. It's just that all of our other major committees have 2 council people. And so it seems like that one should as well. And
Probably more than any other.
I think it deserves it.
And so if he doesn't want to be on there with me for some reason,
No,
because I have asked.
don't, that is not.
No,
it at
because I've
all.
asked some hard questions. I've like picked at some things, whatever. So if then anyone else can do it, I'm fine with that. I just think that it's an important committee to have some oversight, and all of our other major ones have too. So to me, it just seems like a really smart idea.
Well, and if I conveyed that there was anything
Oh, no, I'm just saying that if there's a
personal, that was
reason.
not the case. It's just that, like, you know, my understanding of the committee is that it primarily is to vet major expenditures, right? I mean, that's, and so, you know, and whether you agree with David or not, with respect to how many council members should be on it, I mean, we can continue that conversation, but you're on if you're still willing, but I just wanted to let you know that he felt that 2 council members was probably too much. And maybe we could even do it such that you're the single council member, and if you feel like more, you know, participation is needed, then we can even talk about appointing somebody else, or,
Well, it's
we
just
can keep it
Kind of the
flexible.
point too was so that there'd be 2 people that knew what was going on. So if one couldn't show up,
Okay,
or if Dave decided not to run again, then somebody doesn't go in not knowing what's going on. Like, that was the point of it, really, was for backup.
okay, well, and so why don't we, I would recommend that we discuss, or we vote on the policy with the up to 2 city council members when we do vote, and then we can keep it flexible, but.
Can we talk to him some more, maybe?
Yeah, no, I think we should.
Can we not accept his resignation yet?
Well, he's not here, so we can do all kinds of things,
I
yeah.
have a question. So on our committees, one of the things when we put our charters together, we never really discussed about rotation of volunteers in these committee assignments. And I think that might be an important thing that on the planning commission, we have terms, as you would say, and it comes up and some of the same people will ask to extend their term. But as I've been talking about people who potentially might want to volunteer, they say, but I can't do it forever. And it appears that we're saying, be on these committees forever. So I'm thinking that we should start saying to our committee members, so that it's also not everybody at the same time, so we have succession, rotation, that, whether it's every 3 years or it's every 2 years or whatever, like we do on the planning commission, that we can rotate out and let other citizens have an opportunity to serve, and also those who want to serve realize that it's not a lifetime thing.
Only Wayne's. Wayne's the only one that has a life sentence,
Yeah.
right, Wayne?
But just for consideration with regards to all of our committees, that it might be something I think would be important for us to, because it is easy to get lax in, well, okay, we've shortened this, and we've done this, and we've kind of changed things around, and I think it's always good to have some fresh eyes
Yeah.
on certain things, not just, I'm not talking in finance in particular, but in all of our committees.
I think it's a fair point.
So that means I don't have to have Woodland Hills Days for all 4 years. Okay.
No, your committee changes, you don't.
Oh, darn.
It's not council responsibilities changes, committee changes.
Oh, come on.
All right, any other comments
You're
on,
not volunteer on that.
on the finance committee?
No.
Okay, we'll move on then. All right, item 3. Oh, and I failed to mention, David and Doral both had other commitments tonight that they were not able to be here and are excused. So I wanted to mention that too. Item 3, request for a bond extension, Summit Creek Plat F4 Lot Number 1. We have someone here to speak on that. You must be Crone,
I'm the contractor.
the
Yeah.
contractor. Okay, well,
Yes.
if you wouldn't mind coming up and
If you
speaking
were
into the
Crone.
microphone, if you have something that you would like us to know about this proposal or this request. we'd
Sure.
love to
So
hear it.
you are Greg,
I'm
the
Greg.
one we got the letter from.
Yes. Where should I stand?
Well, I don't know what the, I mean,
Kind of by the little table.
Am I okay sitting here?
great.
Yes, I'm the contractor for this residence. It was a plat amendment of joining 2 lots that required a storm drain upgrade plan, where basically I have to relocate one of the drain lines that go down into the valley to the north side of his property line. As we've been working through this, we've been waiting for construction to begin in order to do the storm drain improvements, since obviously we didn't need the storm drain improvements until the building had begun. And right now we're finalizing those so that we can drop machines and get this work done. So it just took longer than the initial bond duration, but we hope to finalize the storm drain this month. So we missed it by that much.
So could you ask Chris if he could just put in on one little section, he wouldn't even notice if we put in a councilman suite, so we could stay over, he wouldn't even
I'm the
notice an
contractor.
extra room.
You're talking to the right person.
I know,
Absolutely.
that's what I'm saying, he wouldn't even notice if you put in an extra room.
Sure.
It's a nice view. Because we need a retreat.
Around the corner.
Okay, any other comments or great suggestions? Any others?
Mr. Corbett, did he have any concerns about it, or was it good?
No, not at all.
Okay.
All right, well, great. Well, thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, item 4, discussion of the berm at the water tank site to facilitate avalanche and debris flow. That was another item that I wanted to include. So when the council, and I'm talking with particular respect to the berm that would be constructed on city property, that would provide some avalanche protection for the Toolers property. The council did approve that effectively, we haven't drafted the agreement, but effectively the way we anticipate structuring it is something like an easement, where we're not responsible for the construction or you know, that would be, yeah, engineering is gonna be, that will be the Toolers' responsibility. We're essentially just granting them access to the property. But when the council did approve that conditional on it being no cost, I did want to come back. I mean, we are gonna have to have our attorneys prepare documents that are associated with this effort. And so, and even just, you know, I mean, here right now, we all get paid. We don't get paid much, but I mean, this is a cost to the city to have this discussion.
That 2 cents is really coming back. to us.
I know.
Yeah, so, but I did just want to make that clarification. I don't want to be outside the lines with respect to what the council has approved. So I just wanted to let you know that there are some transactional costs that will be associated with this effort, but in terms of the construction itself, we will remain at 0 cost. cost. So,
You just wanna make sure we're okay with that, is that what the?
yeah, that's basically what I just wanna make
Okay.
sure if there's any concerns or, you
No
know.
concerns on my end.
Well, I think, I mean, we always have to make sure we're protecting the city, so I think that makes sense.
Okay, I agree. Okay, great, thank you. Item number 5, renew the engineering contract with Jones and Mill. Ted, are you
Does this
here
include-
to,
Does this include Ted?
well, he's not excluded.
I didn't see anything in our packet on it.
If
on the
there's an
contract, though.
exclusion of Ted, I'm against it. If Ted's
Okay, well then,
involved,
Where, I don't know
We'll
why
take
the
it.
PDF would not show up,
Yeah, the contract's not
but
on
let's
it.
let Ted explain what the two choices are, and then we can go from there.
Okay.
so, yeah,
Ted, would you
maybe,
come and speak into
Oh.
the microphone?
you'd have to stand up.
Yeah, you do. Twice, because you're gonna have to go back to your seat.
Oh, that's true, that's true. So, when we did the original contract, we did it under a general services engineering contract with a 1-year date to it. So that date is expiring, or expired, one of the two. So we talked about several ways to renew a contract, if that's what the city wants to do. So we thought the easiest way to do this, rather than do a whole new contract, is to just do an amendment to the one we have, the general services agreement. So it doesn't change the conditions of the contract, it's just an amendment to that contract, which then extends the period of the contract for up to 5 years. Now, there's two things you'll see in there. There's two amendments. The first amendment, because our first contract had a dollar value of $25,000. And with the authorization of that Lower Oak drainage study, that contract is going to go over the $25,000. And keep in mind, a lot of these dollars are for plat reviews and plan reviews and stuff like that. They're usually just pass-through money, right, to the developers. But it's going to go over that $25,000. So the first amendment is for like $2,500, just to increase that contract value by that about $2,900, I think, somewhere around there. $2,950. So increase the contract to $2,950 to take care of that additional that is going over, that was authorized before that one expired. The second amendment is the amendment to the general services agreement to extend it for another 5 years with an estimate of $30,000 a year. We were between 25 and 30 this year with plan reviews and all that. So $30,000 a year, which is $150,000. I mean, ultimately the cost is what it is. We just come up with a value to stick in the contract for now. So the second amendment is to extend the contract for 5 years at that value. And it's just extending the agreement we already have. So we don't have to go through and redo a whole new agreement.
Okay, and the fact, thank you, the fact that, so none of you did get a chance to review this, so, I mean, it probably would be best for us to table that decision until you've had a chance to review it.
Would that, what would that do to our current contract? If we are expired, does that mean we're without you until we renew it?
Well, legally, yeah. Physically and mentally, probably not, but
Okay.
but legally, we don't have a contract with the city. Well, let me stand back.
How long is the, I mean, if we took a 5-minute break and read it real quick?
Yeah, it's there.
They're
now.
one page each.
Yeah.
I have a question
Like I said,
before that.
the
can
original
still vote on
contract
it
that was put in
tonight.
place is not changing. This is just an amendment, one-page amendment to
Oh,
that
she
contract.
just went and printed us.
So, yeah, if we
So-
just can read it
Yeah.
for a minute, I think we'll be okay.
So my question is, so we've been going between 25 and 30,000 a year, so is this, how is that wording for up to 30,000? Or is it, or exactly, how are we, if we budget 30,000 a year, that doesn't necessarily mean you will use all 30,000? Or are we obligated to 30,000 no matter what?
No. So what this does is last year when we got the first contract, when we switched to us as engineers, I called Chris Helvey and just said, how much are you typically spending on engineering a year? That was the value he gave me. It was around 30,000. So last year we just put 25. I thought this year we'll go 30 because we're spending just a little over that 25. And that's an up to, so the costs are what they are,
Okay,
right?
yeah,
Whatever we
right.
need to spend, we'll spend. we try to be, efficient as we can with the city. And like I said, most of these are pass-through costs for the city because they're development reviews and stuff like that that ultimately get collected from the developer. And this is for general engineering services. If it's specific to a project, we'll do a separate contract. For example, when we did the water line project, that was a separate contract with the city. And so if there's any major projects, we'll have a separate agreement. This is just for that miscellaneous stuff that comes up, plan reviews, little drainage study. So we don't have to do a contract for every little, $200 amount.
Only our big stuff, which
What's-
hopefully will be water again.
Yeah. Or if, a mitigation project comes up or something like that, then those major projects will have a contract to them specifically.
Perfect.
This is just so we don't have to do a contract for all the little stuff that comes up.
And so maybe what we can do is, after we're done with the work session, we can take an extended break between that and city council, give everyone a chance to
Just
review.
an extra 5 minutes or
Yeah,
so.
and then
Ask
if you can be available
Yeah.
for further questions if there are any, then
Yep.
we can hopefully take care of this tonight then. Okay, anything else from anybody?
Thank you, Ted.
Thanks, Ted. Okay, item 6, planning commission, Chairman Franson.
And you only have 2 things on the agenda, what's going on?
It's a little slow.
I know,
What can I say?
get in the ball.
We just wanted to update the council a little bit on some things that are on our agenda to look at and further review. We haven't been consistent in the way that we've done lot combining when a resident comes to us and wants to combine 2 lots. It's not a subdivision, and there's some clear language in the state statute regarding that. So we're going to adopt that as a procedure in going forth with lot combining, so that we're following the state guidelines, and it's more clear as we go forward as to what has been done and so forth. So I just wanted to inform you of that and answer any questions if you happen to have them on that. We haven't put the ordinance together yet, but we're going to be working on that to do it.
So you're gonna propose it to us to adopt the state statute on this subject?
Yes.
Okay.
Secondly, there's been a little bit of talk here with the staff and others. We currently don't have any requirement for a home that is close, within, say, 250 feet of a sewer connection, to be required to hook onto the sewer. And they have an option of not doing it, even if they have sewer hookups in their home. And we feel that there should be an obligation on the part of people who are building homes within 250 feet of a main sewer to connect to a sewer line, whether they have existing sewer or not. If not, then they would have to plumb their home if there is a sewer connection within 200 feet of their home. So that we, given time and as the city gets built out, we want to limit the use of septic systems because of the potential problems that those create and may create for the city down the road if the state finds that there's some contamination, that our sewer system is affecting the groundwater. So the more people we can get on a certified sewer system, the better off. So I wanted to inform you of that and answer any questions that you might have if we put an ordinance together to make that a requirement for new building. And it's only if they're within this 250 feet of a main sewer that would require them to hook into that sewer system.
So, I mean, there are areas of the city, right, that aren't plumbed for sewer,
Correct.
right? And
It's
so,
only Thousand Oaks and Summit Creek and Four Seasons, right, that have it?
Yes.
but there are buildable lots in those areas that aren't plumbed for sewer, right? So what would they do?
If they build a home on those lots and the sewer the main sewer is within 250 feet of that home, they would be required to
Okay, so now
plumb
they
their
have the
home for
option.
sewer and hook into that.
Yeah, now they have the option. The problem is when we did all of that, we told Payson City, we have this many lots that are potentially, tell me if I'm wrong here, Corbett, but this many lots that will potentially be signed on and ready to go, right? And we don't even have like 1 or 2% of that number hooked up, and so for them, that's a problem because they're, have to maintain the infrastructure, and although the prices have gone up, it's because we haven't done our part in having enough people signed up to be on it. And so those that are in that area, I think it's reasonable to say, especially new builds, from now on, if you're within this range, you have to do it. Or if you had a remodel or whatever, it should be a part
to
of it.
do it right now.
What?
All new construction is required.
We require all new construction to do it right now, but I think what Wayne's saying is anyone that is within 250, even if their existing home, would be
Okay.
required to do it.
Because
Okay,
eventually,
so
we'll-
that's different than what I thought. I thought you
Okay.
were talking new builds.
So what I.
that too, but as the sewer system does get built out, then it's likely going to be by some of these existing homes that we have, and we would want them, maybe there'll be some parameters with remodeling or whatever. Those are things we'll have to look and work out to see what requirements the city wants to place on somebody to require them to hook into the sewer system.
We did that when we first got gas, because before we all had propane tanks in our yards. Before the city put in gas, and there were some incentives that were put into place at the time. Who else lived here then? Jody, you did, right? And there were some incentives that were put into place to help us all say, of course we want to spend this money and put in gas. But I don't know if there's anything like that that we could do with regards to sewer, but
But
Well, if
right
they
now,
add
we don't have an
something
ordinance that requires it.
we
If a
do.
person, we don't.
I know, we do for new builds is what
I
Jody
don't know
was
that we
saying.
do. I don't
Jody said
think
we
it's
do
in
on
our
new
ordinance.
Well,
I think
we've
it's just in the
identified-
building packet.
Yeah, in the existing building packet, we've
But
identified.
and we haven't gotten any pushback, but somebody could say, I'm not doing it.
Right.
But on
And
the existing builds, see, because I was gonna, my septic line has a dip in it, and I was exploring my options. I mean, it was $35,000 to connect to the sewer. That's a sizable expense to just impose on everybody, because, I obviously, my understanding is that when my leach field fails, that the state requirements are that I hook to the sewer. But as long as I've got a working septic system, I didn't want to dump 35 grand into tapping into the sewer.
correct. And that's not our point. We're not gonna go around and start requiring people who have septic to spend, if they're more than 250 feet away, then it is expensive to dig that line and connect into an existing sewer.
No, I'm all plumb for the sewer. It's a $25,000 connection fee, right?
It's a 9,000 or 11,000 connection fee plus another 2,500 for the Payson right now, 2,600. And then for someone who doesn't have it, then it's gonna be installing the whole thing, and you could be looking at 30-some thousand, yeah.
Okay, so, because it would have been 10,000 for them to just, even though I'm plumb for it, it would have been 10,000 for them to just make the connection, even though I'm already plumb for it. And then
Yeah,
it was
you have some
another
other issues.
12
Yeah.
to 15,000. So anyway, that's a big hit for most residents, and some it's peanuts, but for me it's big.
Yeah, no, it is.
I would be okay with some verbiage in there that's, at point of sale, right? That the new owners would be required to potentially hook up, maybe. Or some other type of verbiage that wasn't, enforced now. But this is also a normal ordinance for most cities. When
And
they're
for new build,
switching
for
over.
sure. I
Yeah,
think that
all new
Yeah,
builds.
new,
all
I
new
don't
build.
have any concern.
No
That
more of
makes
an
sense.
option back
Yeah.
and forth.
Well, even, could you put in there the people that are there that have septic that, especially like if their septic ever fails or or they need to replace it, then at that point they're required to
Well, the
hook up
county
to the
won't
sewer?
let you do a new leach field, that's the thing.
Okay,
Yeah, I
So
think
if you're
they're already
within
required to do
250
that.
That's
feet, I
good.
talked to Drew Rasmussen, and he said, we won't let you if you're that close. We'll just say, sorry, you gotta connect.
okay, well, that's good to know.
Ted, you've got
You
something to
think just-
say.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I'd suggest maybe you also consult the state rule on this, because the state actually has a rule that says if a lot or a property is within 300 feet of a public system, that they have to connect, and that the city has to charge reasonable fees for doing that. And in the event they don't, the municipality then can have the right to shut off the water. So there is a state rule kind of already headed that direction, that you, within 300 feet, would have to connect, if the property line's within 300 feet of the sewer. So I would suggest maybe consulting that rule when establishing our code,
Sure.
our ordinance.
Yeah.
That gives it a lot more teeth too, right?
Yeah, it's actually under, I can give you the rule number, but it says the municipality may require connection to a sewer system if the sewer is available and within 300 feet of a property line of a property with a building used for human occupancy, and make a reasonable charge for the use of the sewer system. And then further down, it says if a person fails to connect to the sewer when connection is required under subsection 2AI, which is the one I just read, or fails to pay for sewer service as required under applicable municipal ordinances, then the municipality may cause the water to be shut off from the premises until the person has, nonetheless, certain things they have to do.
So we'll dry them out. I'm just, to me, what's the incentive? Why are we pushing
So the
existing
challenge,
construction? I mean, okay, yeah, it makes life better for Payson, it helps them absorb some of the
Well,
cost of their
Corbett's got
investment.
an answer to that.
so, and the state also is doing this, the reason there's a state rule for it is because all these leach fields are impacting groundwater,
Yeah,
and they're having trouble getting quality groundwater for drinking. So that's why they're going through now and setting the state rules. So it's an impact of water quality, all the septic systems. And
Well, all it'll take, sorry,
but no, but, so that's the primary reason behind the state doing it, and they're, essentially, this is statewide now. So if you're near a public system, you have to connect, they won't permit a septic.
if Salem tests their water and finds contaminants, or the county land here and tests contaminants, we're gonna be forced to install sewer throughout the entire city. So when we can delay that bill, because what's that bill look like, Corbett? Citywide sewer, 50 million?
It's been a long time, well, it's been probably 20 years ago that we first looked at it, when LEI first started in 2001. And the estimate then was $15 million.
15 million, so probably at
How
least
years
30
later?
now,
At least
maybe
30,
more.
50.
So that's, I think, what we're trying to stave off, is that bill. It'll make our water bonds look maybe cheap. Sewer is harder, I think, too, because we don't have pressure helping. We only have gravity. And it gets rough, like on my street, right here on Highline, for me to connect, because my septic's in the backyard, uphill from the street, so I'll be able to connect hopefully just fine. But for my people across the street, they're not gonna be able, they'll have to either put a pump station in to pump up to the line, or
Go
cut
through their
all the way
neighbors.
through the backyards of all my neighbors down to the schoolhouse and connect into that line. So it's gonna be, we're gonna need
Yes.
every single easement we have in every side lot of every parcel in the city. And we wanna kick that can as far as we can down the road before that bill comes due.
But if we can limit the risk to limit those who go on septic, then that will help overall.
Yeah, no, that one I've got no heartburn about with respect to new construction. I mean, that to me is a very reasonable expectation. It's the existing construction that is concerning to me. And not just because I'm impacted by it, because I would be on that list.
Can we give them a timeline if it's existing construction? I mean, obviously, it's not gonna be, we're not gonna enforce it right away, right? We're not gonna make them do it. I mean, that is a concern too, people need.
Does
time.
the state rule have any timeline on it? Or is it just new builds?
Well, it was interesting there because
It
what
says
Ted read
any
was may.
building that is
The
used
city
for
may
human
do it,
occupancy.
not shall.
Right.
Okay.
So there's options that the city has, obviously, and how they
How long
want
can you
to.
live without water? Like maybe 2 days tops?
I think you can push it to
Now it
3.
says,
If you've
Or
got
you
a
just
generous
have your
neighbor,
water
you go further.
delivered. Probably cheaper to have your water delivered.
Longer if you're a prepper.
You can go to this park and just start jugging up.
That's true, that's true. That's our.
So we'll work on that and craft some things and back and forth and see where.
All right,
See where
well,
we
I
go.
appreciate, I mean, certainly the
So-
cleanliness of our water, that's a huge thing. I mean, obviously, we all want to.
On our-
That's just a bitter pill.
On our agenda, it does say new buildings, so that's why I thought we were only discussing.
Well, yeah,
these
100% new
because that
building,
was on our-
or
on our
failed.
agenda.
But we need to be able to enforce that. Right now, it's.
We need to take out
Volunteer
the
is
either
probably,
or.
yeah, we need to
take that out of our building
emphasize it with
standards.
an ordinance.
Yeah, no, I agree with that.
So, and we're working with Park Trails and Recreation on a trails ordinance, trying to craft that works. So we have that in the process as well. I've talked to Ben and Sherry about it as well, and so we're going through that kind of step by step and seeing what we
You're
can
talking
put
about
together.
that line that we discussed, that's a trail and a sewer line, is that the one you're talking about? or is
Well, that could be part of that,
But that's not what
but
you're
that's
talking
not. No, this is a general ordinance, enlarging the ordinance that the city has for trails.
Gotcha.
So, okay, thank you.
Thanks, Wayne.
Thank you, Ray.
All right,
I'm gonna show you.
city council reports and department updates. Corbett.
I don't know that I have it, I mean, do we wanna talk about taking dirt up in tanks? Or just,
No, I think that one needs to have the full council here, because
okay,
like we talked about last time, I think that one, we've gotta come to a decision on first, the mitigation project, make sure that we're all on board with moving that thing along, and then
okay.
part B is buying the dirt.
I mean, as far as
Selling
water,
the
as far as water,
space.
it's pretty much status quo, haven't had time to do anything else. Haven't had time to do anything with it, so,
With what?
with water, but the water system is fine, everything's working just fine.
Okay.
As far as snow plowing, we're taking salt, we got 2 loads a load yesterday, a load today. I've got 9 more ordered, and just waiting for them to get delivered. Roads, Craig put the tailgate spreader on the truck today and repiped it, and I think he's got Michael and Zach working on that Friday as far as filling some of the ruts along the shoulders of the roads. Other than that,
I had a question. A while back, we got notification on Sky Lake that the hydrant was going on the corner, in Cherry's Corner, was going to be moved to the other side of the road, and the water was turned off all day, but it never did get moved. So
it
who's
was
supposed
just
to move
moved to the
that?
other side of their driveway,
Oh, just from this side to that side, not the whole other side of the road?
correct?
That's gonna be hit this winter,
Well,
cause you know how people
well, it's-
slide around that corner right there, it's right in the path.
But at least it's in a better location than it was before.
Yeah, it is, but,
They wanted to move it. The homeowner wanted to move it, Craig wanted them to move it because it was in the way of their driveway. And
Right.
So they paid for it to move it.
right, I knew that they were paying for it to move, I thought it was gonna be across the street. It's going to be very difficult for people coming down that corner to not hit it. So
We're
just,
going to put some boulders.
we're
Yeah,
just
but
gonna
it's-
be,
I mean, it's always
You know
been
what I
that
mean?
way,
Kind of.
nobody's.
before,
Yeah.
well, Bert used to build a little berm right there so that you
Something
hit the
cushion
berm
below.
and bounced off before you hit the next berm and missed it. But,
Yeah.
I don't know, I'm a little concerned about it, but we'll see if we need to get a vac truck on the corner on an icy, snowy day. Who's gonna
It's
be
really
there?
only, for those people on that street, so it's fine.
As I say, put a boulder.
At
Put a
least,
boulder
at least
on
now
your
the valve is not connected right to the hydrant.
Right,
And so if somebody peels the hydrant off the ground, we can shut it off.
good.
I mean, if it does leak.
And with that valve then changed, does that help those that had the pressure issues there? Okay.
All right, anything else for Corbett? Thank you. Councilmember Hilliard.
Nothing on, we haven't met, so there's no update.
Okay, perfect.
Oh, I got another thing.
Yeah,
I talked to Carrie a little bit, but I could use 5 or 6 volunteers, up at the well. I'm trying to get the membrane liner in the, so the back half of the well, the basement, the back half of the basement of the well is a fuel vault for diesel for the generator. And I'm trying to get the membrane liner in. I've got everything ready to install that liner. I just need some warm bodies to help hold it up.
So I'll just say to
Any
help with
suggestions?
what, just trying to decide how to phrase that to not scare them away, but get them there, but know that it's like manual labor.
When are you wanting to do that, Corbett?
Next
Tuesday.
Tuesday.
Tuesday?
So I'm gonna put something out about it.
Well, if he's not, I say if Jamin's in town, I know he'd help. If your
So that's on the 20th.
wildland guys are in town, they could do it, that's 3,
yeah.
right? I'm just saying that's 3
But
people.
would we have to pay them, because they're used to getting paid to work?
Well, they'll be on the diamond and they'll be doing mitigation. How long does he need them for it?
Yeah,
Maybe just
how
go
long
over.
are we thinking, Corbett?
It's probably gonna take 4 or 5 hours.
Okay,
I'm
4 to
just-
5 hours,
I'm
they're
guessing.
meeting here at 8 AM.
I'm just
I'll
saying,
feed
if
them,
you
I'll
don't
feed
get
them lunch.
enough, right?
Okay, with lunch,
Well, I'm in.
and you want them to bring work gloves or something?
Just,
Are we feeding them
yeah, you're feeding them lunch.
So should they wear work gloves and work boots?
Just, I mean, tennis shoes. You're just standing you're gonna be standing on a piece of rubber, holding it up and then bolting it to the wall.
So maybe some work gloves then,
Yeah.
We'll find some work gloves around here.
okay?
How strong do you have to be?
Sherry.
Hey, they can
I'll
talk.
help.
Anybody that can just help hold up this rubber liner that goes in. I have to line the floor and the walls up 4.5 feet. And so I've got a piece of rubber. It's not rubber, it's membrane. But yeah, I'll take all the help I can get.
So, if we're having Taco Tuesday and just, you don't get tacos unless you go help Corbett
Make it a
first.
condition of lunch.
Oh wait,
It's Taco Tuesday, that's what I said.
I won't be here.
You gotta be working on
I'm sorry, I did not realize that.
That's Taco Tuesday, you'll have to be done. You can only take 4 hours, not 5.
All right, we'll be done in 4 hours.
Because you could be back at noon with 4 hours.
Okay,
Okay,
all right.
Okay, so you're gonna put that in the newsletter.
Or on the
Susan,
page, yeah.
on the page, and it sounds like Sherry's already volunteered, so we got 1.
2.
And thank you, Sherry, 2, you're volunteering, okay.
I heard Ben.
Membrane construction?
Yeah.
Every time. Every time.
that. Did Severn raise his hand up there?
I'm sure Severn raised his hand. It's on video, Severn, I'm pretty sure we saw you.
We gotcha.
Okay, Councilmember Kinnison, we'll revisit that. Councilmember Lunt.
I did go to the South Valley, we had our board meeting for the animal shelter today. They are seeing a little bit of a scary trend. During COVID, a lot of people got their COVID pet. Now they're full to the brim. If they have another hoarder situation or something where they have to take in a lot of animals, they won't be able to do it. They're kind of at a little bit of a crisis level because if they get very many more, they've been a no-kill facility, so any animals that were adoptable, they haven't had to euthanize, but they're to their limit. So we talked a lot about some solutions, and it's unfortunate. We could have had them come, we should have, if I would have known, we could have had them come to Woodland Hills Days, and they could have maybe done like a booth and raised awareness. Not that they would have necessarily adopted any animals, but just to kind of get on people's minds. But they asked if I would help, they found out that I did Woodland Hills Days. So, on October 8th, we're going to do an adoption fair down there at the animal shelter and probably do like donuts and hot cocoa and just have people come, and they're going to discount the adoption rates, lower the price to adopt a pet. So
So not in our city, but down there.
Probably down there, so it'll be all the cities, and then all of the board members will come and help and get some other people to help.
So
and-
will you give me a flyer or something for the
Yes.
newsletter? Because I'd like to get that in.
They're also going to make me a little flyer that we can post, just kind of awareness too, but we'll do this. So we're just, we're gonna start doing some initiatives because it seems to be a trend. And they also said that they're so full that they're not taking, when people, owners don't, don't want their pet anymore and they bring it in, they're refusing those. But what's happening is people are just dumping, they're
On
starting
side
to dump
road.
pets again. So cats and dogs are getting dumped and then they're strays and they're coming to them and they have over 300 cats and they have 112 dogs. And their limit is 140, so they're like right there. And they have one dog, they said it's a black lab and it's the sweetest dog ever. And he's been there 10 months and they don't know what to do
Are
because
you taking him? I
No.
can see it in your face.
I can't. I have 3 mini Aussies. But it does break your heart, and I am the wrong person to serve on that board because I will end up with 10 dogs before it's over. I'm the wrong person to be on that. But yeah. So anyway, so if you know anyone that's talking about going to a breeder and getting a dog, just kind of say, hey, I know that there's a lot of good dogs at the animal shelter.
If you give us a flyer or some more information and maybe even some pictures, then we can
Yeah.
get those on the
Let's
newsletter and on
Get
social
those on
media.
Facebook too, yeah.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
got them on both.
That's what we suggested. So we're gonna do that, and then they're gonna have the Spanish Fork TV station do like a little YouTube kind of a video thing and something that they can send out to us that we could all also post. Just kind of about the facility and do some of the cute little faces and so that we can put on our page too. So I told them we would do whatever we could to help. So yeah. Anyway, because I have a soft spot and I may soon own 10 dogs.
Been there, done that, not worth it.
I know, I won't do it. Can't afford the dog food.
Well, you caught my attention with Black Lab. We have a chocolate lab, and she needs a friend, and so.
He's the cutest.
Uh,
I didn't know. I loved on him the last time I was there because about every other time I'll say, okay, take me for a walk. And so she takes me through and I, say hi to them all. And he was like just the sweetest and he's a little bit older, not old, but he's a little bit older. So he's not a puppy, right?
Right.
So
He's potty trained.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's huge.
he was sweet.
Okay, thanks, Shannon. Okay, were you done?
Yes, I'm all done.
Okay. Councilmember Malkovich, Utah Lake Commission.
We are having our meeting on Thursday, but there are some things going on at the lake that I've been posting in the newsletter that you can still schedule a tour if you want of some of the new facilities, the Wakara Way and the Provo River Delta Project. If you would like your family to go on a tour, you can do that. And there's some other events that have been happening that families can sign up for. Otherwise, we have our meeting on Thursday.
Great,
Oh.
thank you.
Thanks. I got a car.
Anything else on the lake? Okay,
That's all.
great, thank you. Councilmember Pratt gone, me. So SCSD, I went to a couple of their meetings, so I'm wearing their swag.
Yeah.
Because we had our board meeting today. I don't have anything to report on, just the alarmingly, the increasing scarcity of kilowatt hours as a resource is something that all the utilities are trying to be mindful of, but just working on solutions there. I mean, there are limits with what someone that doesn't build out their own generation system can do, but you're going to say no solar, right? Are you?
No, I have some. I have solar.
Yeah, no, I think that would be a good
I don't get enough
way to
sun to
kind
go
of
solar.
supplement. You what?
I don't get enough sun to go solar.
We can change that. I have a really awesome chainsaw.
I was to say chainsaw time.
Yeah.
I
it's
do
easy to
too.
clear it out. And then the COG and MAG, they had a transportation meeting last week. Started at 5. Who starts a meeting at 5? Fortunately, Wayne was there. I thought it started at 7, so I showed up just in time for the closing remarks, and Wayne kind of gave me an overview. But, that was a swing and a miss for me. So that's it. All right, possible items for upcoming meetings.
I had the one that I forgot to add for tonight's meeting that I'd like to add for next, which is that, did I send you any of the information on it at all? It's the part of the Valley Visioning, update on where we are at, and, an invitation to attend the Growth and Prosperity Conference that's at UVU in, October. So they wanted to come and give a presentation to us during our work session. And I asked them which day was good, and they said either. And that was at our last meeting, and I thought I had forwarded the things to Jody, and I didn't. So I need to do that.
So that would be for next meeting then?
Mhm.
Okay. All right, great. Well, then with that, we will close the work session, and take,
Just
Well,
like 10 minutes.
yeah, we'll do 10 minutes. We'll reconvene at 7:03, so 5 for a break and 5 for legal review.
That sounds good.
Okay.
Look at us, it's not even 7 o'clock yet.
Yeah,
I'm
no,
so
we're
impressed.
flying. All right.
Good.
And the SDSD, they were, I was just
I'll just read this. Public comments are limited to 2 minutes or less. Comments submitted via email need to be received prior to 2 p.m. the day of the meeting to be included as part of the official record. Email comments will not be read aloud during the meeting, but will be distributed to the council and included in the official record. Do we have anyone here that would care to make any comments on any matters? Okay, and anyone online? Doesn't look like it.
Okay.
Okay, then we will close the public comment portion of our meeting and move on to the consent agenda. City Council meeting minutes from August 23rd, 2022. If I could get a motion to approve those.
I'll make a motion to approve those.
I'll
Okay,
second.
a motion by Councilmember Lunt and a second by Councilmember Malkovich. All in favor? Any opposed? I know there aren't any right there. Okay, motion carried. Item 14, on to business and discussion. Decision 1, policy and procedure 2022-3.
I make a motion that we amend the policy and procedure to include the wordage up to 2 council members.
Okay,
I'll second that.
a motion to amend, or a motion, how would I say that? Councilmember Malkovich has made a motion with that proviso, and seconded by Councilmember Hilliard. All in favor?
Aye.
Can I comment, do we need to do that for PTR as well?
No, it already has to.
Does it? It says to? Okay.
Okay, motion carried. Granting a bond extension for Summit Creek Plat F4 Lot 1.
I'll make a motion.
Okay, Councilmember Hilliard makes a motion to grant that extension.
I'll second it.
Councilmember Lunt
Did we
seconds.
discuss that room? Okay.
Oh, was that added in?
Okay, so is that motion subject to? Yeah, okay,
You just want to give Chris a hard time, right?
all right, all in favor?
Aye.
And no opposed, motion carried. Item 16,
Table.
taking dirt, yeah, that's one we'll have to table. And item 17, approval of the city engineering contract.
A motion to approve the contract.
Okay,
As
motion
presented.
by Councilmember Malkovich to approve the contract.
Which one are we approving?
Yeah, so is this amendment 1 and 2, or?
Well, amendment 2 includes the 2,900 and the 5-year extension, so I just need to know.
So should we
I
do
thought it
two
was all,
separate,
I thought it was all as one.
Yeah,
That
so
we were voting
amendment
on
one
one.
is the additional 2,900, and amendment 2 is the 5-year and additional 150,000.
Yeah, I guess I was seeing it all as one one motion, but we can take them separately.
Well, unless someone might vote differently, I don't know that we need to. I mean,
Yeah.
if everyone here is okay with us treating that as a separate
Yes.
decision. Okay, so you did move to approve both amendments, Councilmember Malkovich.
Go ahead.
You go for it.
No, you go.
I'll second that.
Okay, second by Councilmember Hilliard. All in favor?
Aye.
And no opposed, motion carries.
We're almost on a record for a city council meeting. Our young friend should have stayed, a 10-minute council meeting, oh my gosh.
Yeah, no kidding.
that would have set like false expectations.
Yeah, Mr. Morrell would have called and said, Karen, what happened?
What I wanna know is what did Ben do wrong to have to sit through all of these?
I just love being here.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well, we haven't seen you in a while, so we're glad you're back.
We missed you.
He got his contract, he was out of it.
That's right.
Okay, well, so we've got a hearing tomorrow. I think that in light of that, it would probably be best to do a closed session the following council meeting unless you would like an update on that or any other.
Yeah, I'd like a brief update if we could.
Okay,
And I think there's some other things that I'd like to bring up during the closed session. as
okay,
well.
well,
Yes.
then I'll entertain a motion to enter closed session.
I'll make a motion to enter closed session.
Okay,
I'll
Councilmember
second.
Hilliard, Councilmember Malkovich seconds, all in favor?
Aye.
Okay, we are in closed session. Thank you all for being here. Good night.
You thought you were.
Right, thanks for all you do.
Record-breaking council meeting, and now,
No, I'm holding on to my record.
Some of the things that I would discuss in personnel, so I'd like to
Okay,
So we can do the,
those
do a
that-
quick update and then we can.
Yeah. Shift. Max
Oh,
does it. Okay, thanks, guys.
So,
Just a minute, I need to
I know,
do a few things
I know
here.
you do.
we just closed the special session.
We're just gonna close it. Okay, so you can do a motion to close.
I'll make a motion to close the special session.
Okay, a motion by Councilmember
Second.
Hilliard, seconded by Councilmember Malkovich, all in favor.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Okay.
Motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn by Councilmember Malkovich,
I second it.
seconded Councilmember Lunt, all in favor.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you, thank you.
Thanks for staying so late.
Sorry, Jody, I know, I finally was like, you guys, I have to go home.